You're listening to the Red Book Show on Wexford New People's Movement Radio. I'm Wally O'Neill, and I'm joined in the bunker studio tonight by my old companion Steve Huennekes, Phil Hughes, and by Paul Hughes, the director of Amigo Productions. We're going to be interviewing Paul very shortly, but first, it's time for another exciting edition of Dr. Huennekes Almanac.
Yep, thank you, Wally. When I used to teach my classes in Missouri at university, I'd sometimes give a handout to the class, and I'd say submitted for your approval or your disapproval. And what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to talk about the ideas Martin Buber had about what a real, true community is, and maybe add a few comments about that. So what I'm going to tell you now is not, okay, this is my opinion. This is one of the deepest thinkers in recent history thinking about what community is, and his thoughts are very sublime and beautiful, I think. Anyway, Martin Buber lived between 1878 and 1965. What did he say about community? He said a true community is a living network of authentic relationships. A true community is not based on something like shared institutions or geographical proximity or, for example, business goals. Rather, it's a genuine human connection. Now, he had a very powerful concept he called the I and thou versus the I and it. The I and thou encounter is a real community. It's holistic, it's mutual, it's deeply respectful. People engage with one another as unique living beings rather than objects to be used. When a group interacts in this manner, it forms what Buber said would be a genuine community. Now, this is to be compared and contrasted with what the I-it relationship is. It's not really much of a relationship. Individuals interact primarily based on specific interests, for example, in politics or business, or what profit is their goal. And Buber called this Gesellschaft, or a society, but it was not a community. With the I-it relationship, people treat one another as objects to serve a function rather than having an authentic dialogue. So, like you look at today's business, right? You have a community, but a lot of times it's just basically very conditional relationships. Or you have politics, and a lot of times the community is fractured because the whole idea is to go tribal and be against other people that are in the group. Now, Buber saw community as a dynamic moment-to-moment realization of authentic meeting. Now, I'm going to talk about this through an illustration. Buber said people don't have conversations. They become a conversation with another person. He had this wonderful illustration of two people meeting on a hilltop every day, and they became a conversation for an hour or two. Then they separated. They went back down to the separate sides of their hill for the day to think about everything that was said and to really ponder it and meditate upon it. And then the next day they came up to the hilltop and they became a conversation again. And they kept doing this over and over again. And this was to the mutual development of both human beings. Now, this involved presence, genuine dialogue. It's more than just hearing words. It requires stepping outside oneself. There's that theme about getting yourself out of yourself, right? And basically really finding out who the other person is. Because the ultimate goal of dialogue, unlike in politics or business, it's not to do something like persuade or win an argument or achieve a specific outcome. Instead, it's communion and mutual validation of the individuals involved. Because being an individual is kind of a lonely enterprise. We need other people to be involved with us and for us to be involved with them. It's the whole idea of confirmation and recognition. This is where it gets really deep and just to me quite beautiful. A genuine community must organically form in response to the specific needs and challenges of the people who are around us, sharing the society or this world with us. And he talked about the idea of a community being, I love this, a moment's answer to a moment's question. Like when we're having a conversation with somebody and learning who they are, that's what community is all about. And he says, get beyond sentimentality. The authentic community is not a passing mood or a romantic exaggeration. It's rather a constitution of shared life, common need, and mutual support. I was walking on the quay today, and I had a really strange thought. And have you noticed that sometimes people are hanging out on the quay now during the day and they're drinking a lot and so on?
Yeah.
And the group I saw there today was especially loud and they were especially drunk. Okay, but they were having authenticity of a certain. They were having a sincere attempt to form a community. Now they didn't have anything like a constitution because they were all like very intoxicated. But they were having, it was like a moment's answer to a moment's question. They were deep into talking to each other. Now the next day they won't remember very much of what they said, but they were having a sincere attempt at a community. So it was that more of a community than somebody in a high and mighty business group, doing a strategic plan and setting out a goal to defeat their opposition and competition. Is that more of a community than many of our political structures exist today? Sober individuals, right, but pitted against each other. So there's a lot of food for thought here. Now I'm going to conclude Buber's sort of thought process here. He says that man, and he uses old-fashioned language, gender exclusive languages, but just excuse that, as men and women both. Man wishes to be confirmed by his being by another person and wishes to have presence in the being of another. I love this. Secretly and bashfully, he watches for a yes, which allows him to be and which can only come to him from another human being. That's what you call getting confirmation. That's what you call having somebody be your witness. I'm going to conclude today's Almanac page. I'm going to read 4 haikus from war stories that sort of follow this theme. The first one, this one was dedicated to my sister. And I'm not going to tell the whole story about this, but you'll get the sense of it. I found you. You're alive. 51 years ago, you recognized me as this, writer and thinker. And that's for my sister, Susan Morley. Okay, here's another one. Feelings are not right or wrong. Things from our big hearts ought not need explanations from our tiny brains. There's 2 more I'll read. 2 of my favorites. Secret mantras. You matter to me. I'm not very important. I'm here from nowhere. Fair play. In love and in war, truly consider the other, sister or brother. And that concludes Dr. Huennekes Almanac.
Well, thank you for that, Dr. Huennekes. That was
You can call me Steve, by the way. That's more like the owl now relation. Just call me Steve.
I like the idea of the hilltop. That's
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Sublime.
Great, and now we're gonna move into some Craic Karaoke.
Yeah, we're in a different program now. Now I'm either going to do this or I'm not going to do it, because if I don't get enough technology, I won't be able to do it, basically. So if everything works, I'm going to do a song by Gordon Lightfoot from 1972. It's not one of his best known songs, but it is a beautiful song. In fact, the title of the song is beautiful. So
I have to say, I've never heard of Gordon Lightfoot.
You have not heard of Gordon Lightfoot? He's a Canadian musician. Have you heard of The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald?
No.
You haven't heard of that song?
No.
Have you heard of If You Could Read My Mind?
No. We better just go on.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I will come in and sing more of his songs at a future date. But I was thinking to myself, some Wexford musician might be able to make this a hit. Just like I was going to sing it last time, along with Everything is Beautiful. I thought beautiful was the theme, but then we had a technical failure and I couldn't. So now, hopefully, we won't have a technical failure. So here we go. At times I just don't know how you could be anything but beautiful. I think that I was made for you, and you were made for me. And I know that I won't ever change, 'cause we've been friends through rain or shine for such a long, long time. Laughing eyes and smiling face, it seems so lucky just to have the right, telling you with all my might, you're beautiful tonight. And I know that you will never stray, 'cause you've been that way from day to day for such a long, long time. And when you hold me tight, how could life be anything but beautiful? Think that I was made for you, and you were made for me. And I know that I won't ever change. We've been friends through rain or shine for such a long, long time. And I must say, it means so much to me to be the one who's telling you, I'm telling you that you're beautiful. Well, thank you all.
Thanks, Steve.
That was beautiful.
Beautiful. We have a text message in there, Steve, from Shane. He said that sounded godly. So
Yeah.
I think he'd like to hear some more Gordon Lightfoot, courtesy of Steve Lightfoot. Now, we're going to have a break now. After the break, we're going to be joined by Paul Hughes, who has a new play coming up in Wexford Arts Centre on the 9th and 10th of July. If you want to text in and ask Paul some questions or even comment on Steve's beautiful godly voice there, the number is 089 417 9972. 089 417 9972. You can get us on mobile or WhatsApp, I think, Tony.
Yeah, man, it's still there. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So we're going to have a song now, and this is one from Billy Roach from his Red Guitar album. It's called A Place Called You and Me.